The Three Kings are an Illuminati-like secret conspiracy, pulling strings all over the place. The identity of the Three Kings themselves is hidden, and they control events all over the world. They are trying to guide humanity down the right path. They have many secret societies operating under them. Does anyone actually agree with the Three Kings' philosophy? Just what is that philosophy? What are they trying to do, and why does anyone obey them? Their main goal seems to be to stave off what they call the end of civilization. I've already made a video about that. Basically, they foresee the factory world and they don't like it. They want to prevent it by reducing humanity's level of technological achievement. The factory world can't happen if the technology for it doesn't exist. Their general approach to this seems to be to disrupt societies and cause mass death through things like world wars. Various characters are concerned that they might cause human extinction. Even the narration points this out. Yet the kings themselves do not seem concerned about that. How can they be so certain that they won't end humanity? If they believe that the factory world is an unavoidable prophecy, then it makes sense. After all, the factory world can't happen if there are no humans alive. Therefore, no matter how hard they try, they can't possibly cause human extinction, not before the factory world has happened. They believe this future cannot be avoided, but it can be forestalled, perhaps indefinitely. How specifically do they intend to do this? That's where things get a bit tricky. There are various powerful orders operating under them, such as the 9th Prime Chivalric Order and Tojiro's Order of the Wisteria. These can conduct military operations and media manipulation. However, these chivalric orders each have their own agendas. They individually benefit from working under the Three Kings. What are the Three Kings' own plans? It's no big secret that Gestress functionally controls much of what happens under the Three Kings, handing out their orders. I don't think that the kings themselves know any of the details of what's really going on. I doubt they even have any specific plans. They're clueless. There's various evidence to this effect. The single biggest moment is in Chapter 24, A Kid's Meal of Natural Disasters. The King of Sorrow says he's been looking at the news to try and ascertain the damage done by the drone attack. Why should this Illuminati king be trying to get intel on his own operations by just watching the news as if he's some random nobody? The only way I can make sense of it, without assuming this guy is a complete fool, is if the point of the drone attack was to create the perception of damage, not necessarily to cause actual damage. In that case, looking at the news makes sense. And Tojiro did say all these problems were caused by humans and can be dealt with by humans. I don't see how humans can unkill 3 billion people unless they're not really dead to begin with. But I don't have any overall theory that incorporates that. Instead, I think the kings are just clueless. They never really show any proactive control over anything. They do sometimes take credit for things, like that drone attack or the Herbal L5 virus incident, but that's only in retrospect. For example, if at some point the kings had said, release the bioweapon, and afterwards the Herbal L5 virus incident happened, that would be one thing. But in fact, they never say anything specific ahead of time. They're only ever shown reacting. They see some big event happening, and they say, we did that, but it should have been even more impressive. Another similar moment is in Chapter 22, the second simultaneous global truce, when the King of Sorrow asks to execute the plans. When Gestress asks which plans, he says, all plans. It's like he doesn't know what any of the plans are, he just has to give a cop-out answer when he's asked for specifics. He really gives the impression that he knows nothing. The identity of the Three Kings is completely hidden, yet the one consistent thing that everyone says about them is that they're old. How can anyone be so certain of that if their identities are hidden? They could be anyone. In fact, I think they really are a bunch of very old people who are losing their minds, and Gestress is quite literally taking care of them. The little charades Gestress puts on makes them feel powerful, and there is a real conspiracy with all those chivalric orders, but the Three Kings themselves aren't in control of much at all. Who are they then, and why are they important? I'd say they're some of the oldest living people. I think of it like this. Right now, in actual reality, people can sometimes live to be more than 100 years old. In A3 dub, they likely have powerful medical technology. I would definitely expect the oldest people to be well over 100 years old in Ciconia. That means that if the Three Kings are near the limits of age, they're over 100 years old, and they personally experienced World War III. That may be their true importance. The truth of World War III was sealed away and hidden. If Gestress can get these 3 old eyewitnesses talking, she can learn some secrets that are extremely hard to find out about in any other way. They may start to get particularly loose-lipped if they believe that the end of the world has arrived. What specifically does she want to know? I have no idea. Here's one possibility that I thought of. It's pretty wild. The Three Kings talk about handing down their crowns to a successor. They also imply that there was some previous iteration of the Three Kings that they don't identify with who were involved in creating the current era. Maybe there is some person, some previous king, who caused World War III and whose identity has been hidden. However, he can somehow survive indefinitely and will continue his work trying to destroy the world. Maybe this is the nightmare that Jestrus is trying to erase. After all, Jestrus says she's only helping the Three Kings because they are somehow necessary for erasing that nightmare. Once she knows who the previous king is, she can go try to kill him. But the Three Kings are pretty much doing the previous king's bidding, so why is Jestrus helping them? What good is getting rid of your enemy if you're only going to enact their plans for them? Well, even if the Three Kings fail, the previous king will just hatch a new scheme. It's not safe as long as he's out there. She has to fix the problem at its root, which means finding the previous king, even if it means collaborating with the current kings. She can't believe the current world-ending scheme will succeed, and she also wants to make sure that there are never any more in the future. Also, since the Three Kings are staving off the factory world, maybe killing the previous king will allow the factory world to happen. So maybe killing this person is also part of Vir's dream of creating the factory world future. That's just one idea. I think it fits okay, but I'm not sure if I believe it myself. I suppose I prefer to think that Vir and Jestrus are not so well aligned. That gives Hojiro a more difficult choice to make. If that's not it, then what are the tantalizing secrets of World War III? Some sort of hidden historical knowledge is thoroughly teased. And what's the point of having a secret like this if it won't have a big impact on our understanding of the story? Furthermore, even if you agree with me that the Three Kings are relying on prophecy to convince themselves that they can't possibly cause full extinction, there's still the question of how they ever gained that prophetic knowledge to begin with. As ever, the questions have no end. I'll keep on thinking, and I hope you do too.